I've sensed there was some sort of danger in this sector of the seven seas. We meet again, brother. Ocean Master. It's about time I kill you, brother, and claim the throne of Atlantis once and for all. Step aside, Arm. Nobody kills Aquaman but me. Outrageous! Two of my greatest foes standing side by side, Manta and Ocean Master. Know your place, surface dweller. His life and crown belongs to Atlantis. Keep the crown, fish boy. I just want his head. Then by all means, boys, try and take it. What is up, all you action figure collectors out there? I am back with another action figure review. And for today's review, we're going to be taking a look at a DC Multiverse Mattel Battle of Two Dooms Aquaman set. Alright, so also before we get further into the video, I do want to say that I had posted reviews on these two figures, and I do want to say I was trying to get 100 views on those videos, but for some reason they are stuck being super close. So if y'all could, can y'all please check them out? Like, y'all don't have to like watch the whole video. Like, can y'all like just check on them, and you know, so the view rate could go up. And also like, yeah, I do also want to highlight, I also have these two out because I feel like that this Aquaman would be the perfect, you know, Aquaman to go with these two. Alright, but yeah, but you do get some blank, you know, some blank package, that blank packaging with just the Aquaman, you know, logo and Battle of Two Dooms and the DC logo. And here, oh, Superman fell down. Oh well. And here on the side, you do get an image of Aquaman. And here on the back, you do get some artwork of what's going on. So if you want, you can pause it and read it. All right, hold up. I'll try to get the tripod. And here on the side, you do get an image of Black Manta and Ocean Master. All right, and on the inside of the box, all right, you do get, you know, a clear look at the figures. And here on the side, you do get the artwork again, and the same artwork, the same like what you saw on the outside. So yeah, so nothing different. And what's also really cool is that like, I do really love how they designed this box, and like, yeah, you get to see the figures. And what's also really cool is that you can just, you know, take this off, and then, you know, to get a clear look, and you know, then you can easily take all the figures out. Okay, but you obviously know I don't like spending too much time on the package. I kind of made an exception on that, since, you know, this isn't just any package. Like, this is also for in case if you like having your figures like displayed in a box. But once again, I don't like spending too much time on the package, so let's get these figures open and take a look at what they're all about. Okay, so now here's a look at all three of the figures outside of the packaging, along with all of the stuff they come with. And like always, before we get into the figures themselves, we're going to take a look at their accessories, and then we'll take a look at Aquaman, Black Manta, and Ocean Master. Okay, so now here is a look at all of the accessories, what the figure comes with Black Manta coming with the most because Black Manta comes with 3 different sets of eyelids that you could put on his helmet, as well as 3 sets of hands and 1 trident gun. And the Aquaman, he doesn't come with anything but just wide open hands, so you could get him into some swimming poses, or some kind of some swimming poses. And he does come with 2 close-fisted hands and some grabby hands, like, even though he doesn't come with a trident. But if you have a trident from any other Aquaman figures you might have in your collection, you could give him that, which I might probably give him my movie one. They're gonna share the trident. And also Ocean Master comes with once again, wide open hands, or in this case swimming hands, and open hands, if you want to give him a trident, and close-fisted hands, and a harpoon gun. Which I kind of feel like it's kind of backwards. Like, Black Manta should have the harpoon gun, and Ocean Master would have this gun. I mean, but either way, I do think that they look like that. They have some pretty cool details on them. Like, I do like the metallic paint red on this. And it really does look like it came from a classic comic. Okay, so now switching out the hands is, at least on my figure, kind of tricky. So you do kind of have to have a little force to pull off the hand, and then you place in the hand you want to replace it with. Which, because earlier I tried pulling off the hand and it kind of felt like it had the tendency to break off, but luckily, I was easily able to get it off, when I applied heat with it. So I would say, if you're going to get this set, be wary of that. And if it feels like it easily has the tendency to break off, I guess, you might want to heat these up. But they can switch their hands, but I don't know, some might probably have it easy, some might not. But but just with mine, I had to fight with it a little. Okay, now also for the Black Manta, he does have this feature where you can, obviously, where you can remove the lenses from, his helmet. But I'm going to say, I would advise you to heat this up before you could swap around, because I'm going to tell you, it was such a huge pain in the ass trying to get these off. But here is how he looks. Now here's how he looks with the yellow eyes. I didn't push it in, far enough, because, don't want them to get stuck in there. And here is him, with the and here is him with the red eyes, which will obviously be my favorite eyes to put on him, because that's usually how Black Manta is drawn. And I'm pretty much gonna have these eyes on him most of the time. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave these eyes on him. Okay, so for the figures themselves, starting off with the protagonist himself, Aquaman. Um, I do want to say that Mattel has done a pretty fantastic job on this Aquaman. I do really love how he really looks like, you know, Aquaman who stepped straight out of the comic books. And like surprisingly I actually do really do like this head sculpt. I'm not sure if you guys could see it clearly, but I actually surprisingly really like this head sculpt, even though I have originally thought about swapping this head with another head from another Aquaman, but this is pretty good enough. I also do love the sculpt work in his hair. Like that. I think Mattel did a good sculpting job on here. And um and I think that the shirt here, the upper body of Aquaman, is also a pretty nice touch. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of, you know, of this, type of thing done for Aquaman, I much more prefer if, if it looks sculpted on, if it look if it looks sculpted on, but you could kind of see the fish type skin, on it. But I would have like preferred it if if it was sculpted on. Um like his movie one, like if the texturing was sculpted like this, then it would have been, I think it would have been a perfect, comic Aquaman figure. But anyways, despite that, I really love the details. He really looks like he came straight from out of the classic Aquaman comics. I do really like the gills here on the arms, like, on the forearms. And also, I do like how they painted on this, or drawn on this belt type, but it's usually mostly just a solid yellow. And it's also pretty cool how they just painted on the black trunks. Even though it's supposed to be a very dark green, but it's understandable why they just painted it a solid black. I mean, but I think it's really cool to add on him. I also do really like the gills on his legs. Um, like yeah, I also do think it's really cool. I also do like the green color on the pants. And yeah, the more I look at this Aquaman figure, the more, the more I feel like he's the perfect Aquaman to stand next to my Mafex, Hush, Superman, and Batman. And this is going to be the look that he's going to be supporting once I get to my first Justice League stop motion. All right. Now, if y'all guys are wondering how he looks with a trident, here is him holding the trident that came with the movie Aquaman, and he surprisingly looks, very nice with it. Alright, so next up we're going to be taking a look at the Black Manta. And I would say that this is probably the coolest looking figure out of the whole set. And I'm thinking this one might probably be my favorite figure out of the whole set, because I really love, the design of this Black Manta figure. Even though that there is obviously not much sculpt work, it looks like he's just wearing, a black jumpsuit. But I really love how they, did this black jumpsuit and, with the blue wash effect. And I really love how they did this helmet, and also really like this, I think it's called a translucent, the translucent material, because I do really love how they did it with all of, with all of the different lenses. And I want to say I do wish that Mattel has also done, done it for, for their movie Black Manta. Like, this would have been, this would have, and it would have been great. And obviously, but obviously this is still a good figure as well. But I really love the look of this Black Manta. I also really love, these two, I'm not sure what they're called though. Right, I don't remember right now, but I also really love how they, done this this back piece. It does have some nice lining detail on it, as well as on these things. Yeah, and he does kind of have a belt sculpted on, which looks like it's just a solid black. And looking at the back of the figure, like, yeah, it's just more of the black with, black with blue wash, and overall, I really think Mattel did a solid job on this figure as well. Like, I really love the look of this figure. Like, I really love the paint apps, even though, he doesn't, there's not much sculpt work. But hey, it's replicating what we saw on classic comic books. Alright, so now for the Ocean Master figure, I will say that this is also a pretty cool figure, but I definitely do not like this as much as I like the Aquaman and the Black Manta figure. But I want to say this Black Manta figure also looks, this Ocean Master figure also looks great. I also do think Mattel has also done a solid job on this Ocean Master. Like, I really love how they've done. I've also really loved how they've done this mask on him. Like, he really does look like a ruthless, evil, and intimidating villain. Because I especially like how they given him the black eyes. Like, that definitely screamed that this guy is evil. Like, I really love how they've given him the black eyes. But yeah, and I also love the sculpting detail or here on the mask and here on the head. I do love the sculpting detail. And like, yeah, I really love how they've done this mask. And you can see he comes with this rubber cape, which is painted just, some kind of, I guess you could say a grape purple. Like, but yeah, but I do think the cape, looks solid on him, even though I prefer fabric capes. I prefer fabric capes. And, like, I do have the movie version somewhere. And now we obviously know where we could possibly see the inspiration, I also really love this bronze color on the wrist cuffs. And I also love the stingray on his chest. And it's also pretty cool that kind of just like his brother, his pants are not the same color pants as his shirt. Like, but, they're different. They're different, themes of purple. Like, but there's not much sculpt work, neither on the back. But, yeah. I do think Mattel has done a solid job on this figure as well. I'll probably not give y'all guys, much details, but But yeah, but I do think that this Ocean Master, um, it's a very great looking figure. Okay, so for articulation, it's pretty much, obviously they all have the same, so I could pretty much just demonstrate with one of the figures. So for the articulation, what all three of them have is that they all three of them could look left and right, and you know, but Aquaman can't really look up, which would be, which would be disappointing, if you want to get him into some good swimming poses, and he cannot really look down. But the arms could come out really good, and arms could also rotate, and he could rotate here. He does have a bicep swivel, like single hinge elbow, so he does bend at the elbow pretty good for a single joint, but he has no hinges on the hands. And like, yeah, could pretty much close his hands in case if you want to do some good trident poses like this. But he does have an ab crunch. I guess that kind of helps if get him into some swimming poses. He does have a waist swivel. He can kick forward at the leg really good. Can also kick back. He does have a thigh cut, double hinge knee, so he could bend at the knees really well. But he has no ankle pivot, and he's got hinges on the feet. So good up and down movement with the feet, and he's got peg holes on the bottom of his feet. And I don't know, but I'm guessing for the Black Manta, he could kind of look left and right, but not all the way. But he feels like he has a little bit more head arrangement than the Aquaman, but otherwise, he has the same exact articulation. Same with this Ocean Master. He also cannot really look up, which would be hard for swimming poses. But obviously, he cannot really rotate his arms back. Actually, he kind of can, but you gotta force it through the cape. Oh, I forgot to mention, they... Oh, I thought that they had rotation, so I don't want to force it and break it. And you might want to heat up the figures because these do have the tendency to come, super stiff. Okay, so now let's get into some size comparisons. Okay, so size comparison times. Alright, now what I have been waiting for the most, and I'm not sure if you guys have been waiting for it, but now here is him standing next to the two Mafex Hush Superman and Batman figures, and you could see that he does seem to be a little bit taller, but the scaling is not too bad. I could see the potential of them scaling well together. Like, I definitely could see it working, even though I'm pretty sure they should be much more closer in height. But I'm pretty sure some of y'all guys might be okay with Aquaman being bigger. At least the body size, he doesn't look too much more bulkier in terms of body size. Well, that's good at least. But what I do want to highlight is that this makes me want to go back to the idea of swapping the head off of this Aquaman figure, not because it's a bad head sculpt, because I've now noticed that he does have a pretty much oversized head. Not saying that to cope, and it makes the small head, which I usually on this Superman figure, which I usually ignored, more noticeable, and it's also bigger than the Batman's head. But at least between Batman and Aquaman, the size would looks a bit more natural, next to each other. So Batman is basically the bridge between the Superman and Aquaman. I don't know. I'm thinking I might go back to the idea of swapping out the heads, otherwise, otherwise not bad scaling. He doesn't look too out of place. And I might still use this Aquaman, and this is how Aquaman is going to look in my first Justice League stop motion. And also here is him standing next to two other DC Multiverse figures made by Mattel, which he does scale, effortlessly with, but I'm thinking it kind of proves my point more that he even looks like he has much more larger heads than these two as well. Like I mean, gonna bring Superman back. I mean, as Superman does, it's a common complaint that this Superman figure has, a small head, but I mean, at least to some degree, I'm not sure if y'all guys could even notice it, but at least if you look at the heads between this figure and this figure, the heads look a bit more, at least it's more passable and easier to make it look more natural with this. Which means Superman and Aquaman are on two opposite ends of the spectrum. And I'm trying to decide whether if Superman having a small head is the problem or Aquaman having an oversized head is the problem. And also, here is them standing next to their movie counterparts. Here is him standing next to a DC Multiverse Mattel Wonder Woman figure, which I'm really excited that Mafex is finally releasing a comic style Wonder Woman, which is also going to be the look how Wonder Woman's going to look in my first Justice League stop motion. And also here is him standing next to the Aquaman movie Mera. And I really hope that once Mattel starts, putting out premium figures again, they'll give us a comic style Mera figure. Here is him standing next to his Marvel counterpart Namor. And also, if you wonder how he looks with your Marvel Legends, here is him standing next to the Core 4 Avengers. And also, we cannot forget, if y'all guys are wondering, here is the Black Manta with all of the members of the Legion of Doom that I have so far. And also, here is him standing next to a Mattel Signature Collection DCUC Larfleeze figure and the Storm Collectibles Darkseid. Okay, so now that will be my review. Okay, so now my final thoughts on these figures is that I actually really like this set. I do think that, Mattel has done a pretty great job on these figures. Even the Aquaman, once again, there's nothing wrong with the head sculpt on this Aquaman, but I'm thinking I might go back to the idea of doing the head swap on him, just so I don't know, he could have a better sizable head to scale alongside, my Mafex Hush Superman and Batman. Then I think that, the height, on on them will be a lot less noticeable. You know, the heights on them will be a lot less noticeable. Or I'm not sure if it's just because Superman has a small head. But overall, I have no regrets choosing this to be the Aquaman to go with my Mafex, Hush, Superman, and Batman. That, I mean, and I think he'll be a great stand-in my opinion. That is until, that's of course until, you know, Mafex finally announces a comic-style Aquaman. Or that is until, you know, once Mattel fully regains the license to do DC figures and they make a much more, you know, better, a much more better Aquaman, you know, obviously with more advanced articulation. I mean, even though these were back at the time when Mattel was stepping up their game in articulation, but I think it's good enough articulation that I would want in the Aquaman figure, because it's not like you need to get him into a whole bunch of crazy poses like you would get Batman or Spider-Man and like. But yeah, but I yeah, but will I recommend this? Even though you know, Mattel might possibly give us a much better one in the future. I mean, that's up to you. Like that's up to you, but I definitely would recommend it. I guess I could say I definitely would recommend it and think it could be good. A good definitive Aquaman to go with your Mafex Hush Superman and Batman, despite the head size. And like it's at a fair price. All right, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how I did in the video in the comments and what I should improve on. And yeah, this is Super Kal-El signing off.